What's up, my family? Listen, first-time listener, or you've been here the whole damn time. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, giddy up, let's go, no notes.
That's my baby.
I'm dying.
That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Slap.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
What the f*** are you talking about?
Good evening, A2D Radio! It's fun when I get to do that. Pete's like, the hell just happened? Good evening,
Definitely bringing the energy, brother.
Huh?
So you definitely bringing the energy, brother.
Somebody has to.
True.
I have no energy because I'm fat, so I mean.
No comment.
Hey. Like, listen, I've done a lot. I had 10,000 steps today. Like, just because you round doesn't mean you can't be active.
We're going to bring back an old thing. This is the fluffy world order right here.
FWO, baby.
God, I miss those days.
I mean, we're still fluffy. I don't know about the world order part.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the world order part either. But either way, good evening, everybody. It is another episode of In This Very Ring right here live on A2D Radio. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and if you're listening to us back, you're on our podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and Spreaker. Our episode tonight is brought to you by Alonzi Travel. Alonzi Travel specializes in creating the vacation of your dreams at Disney Universal or wherever your heart calls you. Let their talented team of travel experts, including yours truly, create a custom vacation for you without any of the stress. LLZ on over to alonz-travel.com/take the trip to get in touch with myself or Chuck's or any other talented travel agents and let us start planning your next stress-free vacation as early as tonight. Well, it is spring cleaning in the fall. WWE decided it was time to get rid of certain talents, and they kicked things off yesterday with early cuts in the morning. They had NXT cuts in the afternoon. We got another cut just before Smackdown went on the air. We're going to break it all down, but before we get into it, I want to introduce our panel tonight. We've got our normal group of people. It is from Birds of a Feather, Mr. Pete Evans. The mayor of Toasty Town, Butters.
Toasty Town.
And my name is Ritz. Chrome will be jumping in here probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So we're waiting on his arrival. I had nothing, smart ass to say. Our topic of conversation tonight is brought to you by our friends at Specialized Physical Therapy.com. Dr. Paul Vidal and his team, Specialized Physical Therapy. Check them out on the web or their 2 locations in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. He's our doc. Make him yours. This round of talent cuts was not needed. Agree, disagree. Let us know in the comments below, and we're going to throw it on over to the OGP, Mr. Pete Evans.
Greetings and salutations out there, all my beautiful people. Was the talent needed? Agree or disagree? If I pose that question to you, then you already know the answer for me. I am going to agree to the. I'm going to disagree to the poll because the talent that was cut had either been talent that wasn't given opportunities, a consistent direction, or were given opportunities, and then for whatever reason, that talent then fumbled that opportunity. I.e., cough, cough, the one that we had happen today before SmackDown even went on the air. So I would definitely disagree to the poll around time. I'm just making sure I'm reading this right because I feel like I'm on Fandemonium right now because I feel like this is a trick question the way it's written.
Shout out to Fandemonium.
So you're saying that they didn't need to do the cuts?
They did need to do the cuts.
So that you need to agree to the poll then.
This is what happens when I let Butters write the poll question.
It says this round of talent cuts was not needed. So if I say agree, that means they were not needed, means that they
means that we didn't need to make the cuts.
Yeah, right. No, you did need to make the cuts.
Then you disagree to the poll.
Yeah, I disagree to the poll. So I'm make sure I'm reading it right. That's
Okay,
what
I'm confusing myself at that point.
Jesus
doesn't take
Christmas!
much.
You came up with the question. You came up.
I know. It's so hard to find good help these days.
Oh God. Okay. No, I definitely agree because once again, I go back to my point where I said, outside of Ali, what talent did you see that had a direction? I mean, don't get me wrong. The one we had happen today before SmackDown, and we can come back to that. That's probably the only one who actually at any point in time was elevated, who had multiple championships at multiple different times. Outside of that, is there talent that was released that I feel as if wasn't given a fair shake? You can say that. You can argue that. Is there talent that I wish they would have taken in a different direction? Once you can say that as well. But the fact of the matter is, in this business, if you don't make yourself, sometimes you got to be your number one star, right? Sometimes you have to be selfish, right? Sometimes you have to be the one to put yourself out there. And from these round of talent cuts, it's different than when we lost 2-3 years ago. I don't feel like the privately owned sports entertainment company now based out of Jacksonville, Florida, is going to be beating down the door to get some of these talents that WWE.
I'll challenge that.
I mean, I think, but not like it was 2 years ago.
No, I'll still challenge that because he's an idiot.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, I thought you were challenging what I was saying. No, you okay?
No, I'll challenge the fact that.
You still think this because it's
I think that black sweatshirt wearing dumb bastard will still go and get as many of these stars as he can.
Just to have them.
They have WWE, training and then backing, and there are a few that he should go after.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Are there some that are very surprising on this list? 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Are there some that I didn't think they still had a position in the company?
100%.
Yeah. Hold on. Keep talking. We're going to fix some audio over here.
What is going on?
Just keep talking.
Does he have to hold it for you all the time, Butters? Pause.
Not funny. No, because we had the mic holders here, and the way the setup is over here, it just doesn't work. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it is the original A2D wrestling correspondent. It is one of the founding fathers of lazy booking. And it is-
Retired founding father.
Shut up. And it is one of the founding fathers of Birds of a Feather. Ladies and gentlemen, the heel chrome, Michael Chromiak.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious.
What's up, my boys? How are we tonight?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good. Is my audio okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Oh, good. Perfect.
So we were just discussing tonight's poll question. This round of talent cuts was not needed. Pete disagrees. He says it was needed. So let's go. We'll go straight to you, and then Butters and I will kind of take over as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree to the poll as well. I think that if you look at the list of talent that was cut, like, listen, you never like to see anybody lose a job, right? And I'm sure we're gonna dive deep into a lot of those details. However, there's nobody really there that was being incredibly utilized. I mean, Ziggler's a big name, but when have we seen Dolph doing anything meaningful as of late? And honestly, it sounds like Dolph was kind of trying to find his way out on his own right. So, and Ali, I think, is a huge miss, and we'll dive really deep into them. But there's nobody on there that's super egregious. And the thing too, guys, is there's money to be made outside of WWE and outside of AEW. And Matt Cardona and AJ Styles and some of these guys who've gone out there, Juice Robinson, who have found their way to the indies and established themselves, have been able to make a market for themselves and make a lot of money, or in Drew McIntyre and Juice's case, reestablish themselves and circle back or find another major spot. So, at the end of the day, it's a business, guys. And the thing you have to remember is it's not AEW that's privately owned. It's a publicly owned company. And, for all the money that they're bringing in, and people want to say, yeah, AEW is a privately owned company. It's owned by Tony Khan.
No.
WWE.
No, you're agreeing with me. I'm sorry. I thought you said that they were publicly owned when I said they were privately owned. I'm sorry. Go ahead, continue.
No. They're privately owned, and WWE is a publicly owned company. And at the end of the day, you have shareholders to answer to, and these kinds of cuts, they come every quarter or every 6 months, because you have to show a profit to your shareholders. It's not like they're just cutting them loose and they're not making any money. Like they're getting a severance and an opportunity. They're sitting home for 90 days with an opportunity to line up their next year if they want. They got to work a little harder, like Matt Cardona said. Sometimes you got to grind a little bit more, but there's a lot of money to be made there. And for some of them, probably a lot more money than what they were actually making on a WWE contract. So I agree. I disagree to the poll. This happens, and it's going to come with AEW at some point too, boys.
Has to.
And we've talked about that a lot every time. The talent cuts come around. We've talked about how AEW is so quick to scoop people up. Eventually, they're going to come a point where nope, we've got to start cutting people. We can't wait for contracts to expire, which is what they try to do. And you got to give them some credit. I still think Tony Khan's an idiot, but you have to give them some credit, and that they, all right, we're done. Go away. You worked your contract. To Chrome's point, he talks about the business, and we see this twice a year. We see it typically in the spring after first quarter numbers have come out. And then we typically see it towards the end of the third quarter as they start saying, okay, where are we? What's our end of the year projections look like? What does next year look like? I would argue that WWE's fiscal calendar runs somewhere in that October, November timeframe, just because of when they typically do these cuts. Right?
Yeah.
So,
very true.
And
I think
when you look at it from the business side and you look at some of the names that they got rid of, it makes total sense. These are high-profile names that you aren't doing anything with. In Matt Riddle, Dolph Ziggler's case, I say high-profile. These are main roster talents that you're not doing anything with, that are previous champions, that have been in main event pictures and over the last few years, especially Matt Riddle during the pandemic and post-pandemic even, right? Everything he did with RK Bro and all that. If you're not doing anything with them, you can save that money and put that money towards something else, towards somebody else. I
would argue, well, right, you're right. And I'm sure that's going to come up. We're going to talk about some of those names in the pipeline. But in terms of a Matt Riddle too, let's remember, and I'm a Matt Riddle guy. However, this dude's been skating on thin ice for a year. So you could make the argument, if he wasn't doing the nonsense that he's doing, it probably wouldn't be him cut. It would probably be somebody else or multiple people whose contracts add up to what his adds up to.
I think this was a cut that just, honestly, if they hadn't have done the rounds, it would happen, period.
I agree with you.
If they hadn't done this round of cuts, it would have just happened in general because of the most recent incident, period.
The attention that he brings to himself in the spotlight. He took what Dolph did when Dolph kept dropping the ball and magnified that. That's what I was saying in my opening statement. Like, there's guys on this list and females on this list who were never given that opportunity for whatever reason. You can't say that about Riddle. Riddle 2 years ago, listen, he was supposed to be that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's worked with Gunther. I think he worked with Roman at one point. I want to say 2021. And I mean, we said this before, and I kind of thought this to myself.
I think he worked with Roman right around when Orton got hurt.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Right after Orton got hurt. I think that I don't know how tight they were outside the ring. He definitely hurt him inside the ring from Orton not being there, but it also looks like it may have outside the ring as well. Once again, I don't know if they were road buddies, what have you, but I mean, God, he had, like, Chrome's right. Like, I don't know. The only other person I know that's been skating that thin That's just because he's Roman's cousin is Jimmy, because he's had like 4 DUIs.
Don't even get me started about Jimmy. The SmackDown segment tonight was just atrocious. Don't even.
I have an interesting take on that when we dive into that though.
The SmackDown segment.
His character is super goofy now.
I hate it.
But they created
intriguing.
an intrigue. So they created an intrigue for me by taking AJ out.
Yes.
You ain't wrong, Dad.
Is this because you did 4 again?
This is my 4th show of the week. Well, in fairness, right? We didn't expect this, but with all the WWE cuts yesterday, it was kind of an all hands on deck. Let's get everybody
it was
on.
one of those. The cuts started coming through. We started talking about them in our chat, and I was like, "Oh, I guess we're doing cuts tomorrow night." And Kroger's like, "Well, I guess I'll join you guys." And then I feel like in the back of his mind, he said, "I was on Here's the Thing. I was on Birds of a Feather. I was on A2D Wednesday night, and now I'm here again. I mean, at least I got Thursday off."
I know. I'm hoping nobody gets chrome fatigue here on A2D radio.
We already have that.
He's the A2D show board, man.
I'm pretty sure we get that in after one night.
Yeah.
You get enough of that in the chat. Let's be honest.
Hey, dude.
I'm self-aware.
Sometimes I'm sitting at work and you and Pete will just go off, and I'm like, "All right, guys, some of us are working right now."
Oh, I work while I do that. I'm a multi.
I know you.
I'm literally.
I know both of you do, but sometimes, like, you guys have a little bit more downtime than I may have.
Oh, I just create my downtime. I shouldn't have it, but I have it.
All right, fair enough. I gotta respect that then.
Efficiency.
Priorities, guys. Priorities.
I'm putting Lynch's comment up, but that's a great line.
Damn.
Oh, I missed it. What's it?
I'll tell you later.
Is it Facebook or YouTube? I'll look at it.
YouTube.
Okay.
But no, I mean, so let's dive into some of these names right now. Some of them just aren't gonna matter in the long run. I think my iPad just froze. That's fun. Some of these aren't gonna matter.
You guys know where I want to see Dana Brooke at. Are we finally going to get Brazzers Dana or OnlyFans Dana? Let's go.
And you know what's twisted? Yeah. First thing that came to my mind when
Brazzers better be on the phone.
All right, now full disclosure, that was one of the cuts where I was like, this sucks that she got cut. I thought her going back to NXT was really, really good for her. It got her more TV time. They were getting her more exposure, letting her really get her time to build and grow. Something that I feel like, on the main roster, she never really got.
Right.
To shine on her own, to be the central figure in the story. She was always a supporting character.
Right.
So that's one where I'm, in the grand scheme of it all, I'm not super happy about. Let's see. Let's get in here.
In fairness, though,
when you say that, to expound on that, is it because you thought she had potential, or what? What about her?
I liked her. I liked her in the ring. I thought. Later, not in the beginning. I didn't. Not in the beginning. In the beginning, I thought she was atrocious.
I circle back on that question. Did you?
I did.
Wow.
I did, and I think so. The stuff she did with Charlotte towards the end of those two kind of feuding really turned the corner for me, and I was like, "Oh, there's something here. I don't know what, but there's the potential for something here." And then I paid attention a little bit more, and I was like, "Okay, she's not as horrendous as I thought she was, right? She's still pretty decent, So I and then after meeting her too, I was like, "Oh,
now it makes sense.
Now he has a personal tie. That's what it is."
Well, meeting her at Access, I was like, "Oh, you're actually really nice. You're not as like god awful boring as I thought you would be."
Damn.
Most of them are, man.
Well, yeah, remember, Access was really my first experience at meeting a lot of talent like that.
That's fair.
Sorry, not all of us can, be Chrome.
You take a day trip to Disney, a day trip.
Oh no, just run into the airport. Chrome walks down to like the flipping wharf and he finds 15 of them.
I'm in the pre-check line and LA Knight walks up behind me.
I've never been mad at you. No, I had. That's a lie. I absolutely have.
Right before Money in the Bank.
Like, what was it like growing up in Hagerstown, Maryland, which is fucking nothing there.
But let's dive into this. We'll save some of the bigger names for towards the end. I'm not gonna go over all of them, but Rick Boogs.
And he's got a commercial out right now too.
That perfect example of somebody who had a moment and got hurt. WrestleMania 38 was it last year? WrestleMania 38 opening match, right?
Yeah.
And then his knee did a Nick Chubb. Essentially, that's what happened. This wasn't as gruesome. But no,
there was a shelf life to that, though, right? Like I know Andy said, "Oh, I really liked him with Nakamura." There was a shelf life to it, and I'll be honest. Part of that whole act that made it even more brilliant was Pat McAfee, and he's not there anymore.
Because how he used to mark out.
Yeah, I mean, so it kind of
a really good point. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of enhanced it, and that did him a lot of favors. So, like to me, Rick Boogs just was like jacked up Freddie Mercury.
I was about to say
it was like Freddie Mercury with like the Renegade's body. If anybody remembers old school WCW, the Renegade, it was Freddie Mercury with Renegade or like Hercules Hernandez's body.
And this just Chrome just showed his age.
Oh yeah, or like the Warlord's body. You know what I mean?
Yikes!
I mean, I feel like
don't you besmirch the Warlord's name like that?
I'm a Warlord guy. You know,
Hours of Pain Warlord.
Well, and Butters has a good point here.
They could have teamed up him and Elias. I mean, that could have been actual.
But did what though? Have a musical band?
Why not?
Yeah.
Screw it.
Don't get me wrong. Musically, they're both talented out of this world. As sports entertainers, not so much that they can't captivate you to hold you a long time. Ultimately, like Chrome said, like what was the end game with Nakamura and Boogs? The change of character, and this is the other thing too. This is one of the things with Boogs, and I don't know if it's him, or maybe he didn't push for it enough, right? You get hurt doing the same thing, right? Or you get hurt, you come back almost a year later, no new ring gear, no new music, no new look. Everything is exactly the same.
He got a haircut
when you left, but he's still wearing a singlet. You see what I'm saying? Like, that was the perfect opportunity. A la somebody who doesn't get enough credit for herself and who probably will be a WWE lifer, a la Baron Corbin, who constantly reinvents himself. You see what I'm saying? I'm not speaking lies here, people.
I don't think you are either, right? It really boils down to with Boogs and even Elias, right? They go away, they get hurt, they go away. Mm-hmm. Elias comes back, tries this whole Ezekiel thing. Boogs comes back with just a different haircut, right? Neither one of them really came back with a fury to it. And if you were to ever turn them heel, Elias worked as a heel, worked as a face, right? But it was only short term. To Chrome's point, it was only a short term thing. They're not going to captivate you for a 30-40 minute match. Right, you turn Boogs heel with Nakamura. First of all, Nakamura as a heel doesn't work for me. I've said it on this program for weeks. The pre-recorded vignettes are great. Everything live sucks.
Oh, I disagree. I enjoy Nakamura as a heel.
And of course, we don't agree on this.
Oh, I think this is so needed. I think the rest of it just got real cheesy and real repetitive.
Mm-hmm. And I don't disagree with you. A change was needed. I just don't think that what they're doing now is working for me.
See, I agree with Chrome on this. I don't need Nakamura to talk. Just do all this shit, whatever the fuck you're doing, and is.
Now, if he didn't come out and say a word, fine.
Okay, but you're saying if he speak like make it. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, like if you want to come out, if you want to do all your vignettes pre-recorded, and they be this awesome samurai Japanese style that you're doing, great.
Right.
As soon as you walk through that curtain, shut your mouth. and just kick somebody's teeth down their throat.
Wave your hands.
Yeah, do a little bit of that too. Great, awesome, right? But you turn Boog's heel, and it doesn't do anything. Right? You would have to go away from this guitar playing character, and I think that's why the two of them didn't work either. You essentially had two of the same characters, just different genres of music.
Yeah, and that's why I think the idea of putting them together is almost extremely stereotypical. And again, it's a gimmick that would be first of all, I don't think their wrestling styles work together at all. Excuse me. I think it would be super clunky. And even if you were to do the band thing, like Butters, whatever, their music styles don't even match. So it would be really weird. It would be another comedy gimmick. It would be circling the wagon, doing the same thing, just putting them together.
And this would be the first time. How?
Well, that's because what Chrome is saying is like that's.
But what's the definition? What's the definition of insanity? Right?
Doing the same
Continuing
thing over
to do
again.
the same thing over again, expecting a different
Doing a
result.
show with
Like
Butters for 5 years.
at some point, you have to cut bait. Like if it's not working, it's not working. Who's to say that Elias is one I think could go somewhere else and reinvent himself, and possibly have the door open to come back.
I don't know if Boogs has that in him.
I think Boogs goes to the independent scenes. Like if Boogs would need a miracle.
Boogs would have been great in the golden era.
Yep.
With guys like Hercules and Jim Powers, and then those kinds of guys, the Warlord, Barbarian. He would have fit right in. It's just there's not enough charisma there, other than him playing the guitar. Like Nakamura and McAfee were the best part of that. Like let's be honest, the guitar playing was not great either.
No.
I think that was WWE's. Let's do when he would come out with the violin at takeovers, right? How much do people mark out? It was a way of like giving this guy, when they were trying to transition him back to face from being a heel, and they had that lame music where they had his music with the lyrics over top.
Yeah.
It was a way to kind of transition him back and give that kind of a live performance thing back to the fans. And it worked for a while, but then with McAfee when it was done.
I think some of it also played into, if you remember when what WrestleMania was it? The guitar chick. Oh my God, was it?
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember her name. I know
I remember her name, but I know what you're talking about.
But when she played him down to the ring, so many people loved having that guitar riff with the violin in the song. So I think when Boogs came around, this is perfect. People popped for that. Let's transition. Just like to Chrome's point. But let's move on from Elias and even Rick Boogs, and let's go to somebody like Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah. I mean,
talk about a drop ball twice in a row.
Well, I mean, he's almost 50.
Yeah, he's at a different point in his career.
He looks amazing. I feel like if he wants to continue to wrestle, he will. But I also feel like I can see him transitioning to a producer role back behind the scenes, if he wants to. But if he wants to go, I mean, AEW, Impact, he was there before. Indies, I can see him doing that. He could pretty much do whatever he wants. You know what I mean? I mean, he's taken care of financially, so somewhat to where he hasn't spent his load. He hasn't blown his load. You know what I mean? So he has something to fall back on. It's unfortunate because sentimental. Like I still think he's underrated. That match with him and Shawn in 04 it was amazing.
It's one of the best Raw matches of all time.
Yes.
Well, and I think with Benjamin too, right? Like after you take him out of the Hurt business, and you abruptly end that the way you did, and you kind of separated them. You still had him and what was it, Alexander tagging together?
Yeah,
Cedric.
Yeah, but you weren't highlighting them. They were just kind of in the background occasionally for somebody to beat up on. You had the perfect story of a veteran of the game with an up-and-coming talent where you could have very easily what's the word I'm looking for here? created this mentorship and given him a rub because while yes, Shelton Benjamin is underappreciated, people still respect the hell out of him because he's been around since the Ruthless Aggression era. And he wasn't shoved down our throats for so many years like Cena and Orton and Edge and all them were, right? And I think for him to, unceremoniously just be cut and sent on his way, happy trails, thanks for your time, is a disservice and a discredit to him for, I think they did it wrong on this most recent run.
I don't think it is. I think
WWE failed him.
I don't think it is. I think if he's not being utilized at this point, he's hitting the twilight of his career. I think cutting him loose and giving him an opportunity to go wherever and close it out the way. Like, was he going to win an Intercontinental or U.S. title or anything? No, he wasn't going to win any of that. And if he goes out there and he jobs every week, everybody says, "Oh, well, that's whatever." Like at this point, he's at the point. Pete's right in that he's like 50 years old or just about. Like he's at the point now where it's work with young talent, prepare the next generation, and get them over, right? Sure. And I just don't know that there's a spot. And WWE has so many people that are starting. I mean, hell, Cena does that at this point. Yeah. That I think he would be a huge asset to AEW.
Big
that
time.
He can work with some talent he's never worked with, so you get fresh matches out of him at the kind of towards the tail end of his career, and it's an opportunity to go somewhere and kind of pass the torch to some younger talent and to work, like to really work. I think he would be a huge asset for AEW, and I think WWE did him a favor. He
just turned 48 in July.
Yeah, I mean, we're he's hitting Bobby Roode isn't even close to that age, I don't think. And Bobby Roode's a backstage agent. Like guys his age at this point aren't working every day.
Right.
And I get that. I'm just saying, like you think about when he came back and what they gave him to work with. They really didn't give him much. That's where, like I say,
he wasn't doing much anyway, though.
Hold on, but let me finish. Right, like that's where like they didn't give him anything to do. They didn't give him anybody really to work with. They had a great opportunity to do something, and that's where I think the writing staff and creative failed him, and they didn't let him, because you said it yourself. He has the opportunity to work with young guys, has the opportunity to put people over and give great matches still in his late 40s, and they squandered that opportunity.
It depends on how you look at it. I look at it, the guy got a chance to come back. They had the moment with the Hurt Business where they were all the champions, where they all had belts. And I think that was kind of weak. I think you kind of figured whenever that was done, that was kind of the swan song of his tenure with WWE. Anyway, it was only a matter of time. I'm honestly surprised Cedric is still there at this point.
And that's a surprising one.
Cheaper and younger, and you can use him. He can wrestle more. He could be more of a developmental enhancement talent.
I mean, that's what I said. That's what I was thinking to myself yesterday about the rest of Hit Row. They're still there.
It's easier. You could do Adonis. Adonis had the most charisma next to Swerve, and B-Fat is a female who could just be a hype. It's easier to do that. And with one thing about Top Dollar is he lost all the weight, but I never got along with his ring gear. It didn't translate to me. You had on velvet tights. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, how do you not chafe in those? Like, what do we got? What do we have going on? You feel what I'm saying? So for me, I'll give you a name that I would say that I was a little saddened because I think they had something, and I wish they would have paired this person with a talent that we have. You talk about comedic, not so much stereotype, but like you said with Elias and Boogs, that we're taking them more seriously. But I would have loved to see Inkerman Jiro and Akira Tozawa do something as a group, as a comedic relief throughout all brands. Jacket Time, like this is just, that was different. You know what I mean? But that's really the only person I can say that probably is a name that doesn't strike you when you look from the list. But that was very, very entertaining and who had charisma to bring something to the table.
I think the thing that sucks for him too is he got hurt and missed a lot of time.
Yes.
Jiro is a really, really good wrestler if you really watch his stuff. I just don't think he had the opportunity, and You know, a lot of that is injury, and again, it's, you know, some of these cuts, for all we know, we don't know. Some of these people might have asked out too. Like, hey, if you guys got a round of cuts coming, right? Some of these guys want to go back to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all, a lot of it is pure speculation. Like, I didn't see anybody outside of Riddick Moss be a prick about it. Like, everybody was very gracious, including Ali, who has not had the best track record with WWE over the last year and a half.
I mean, now who's going to replace him in his matchup at Payback?
They'll figure it out.
I'm
surprised somebody didn't. A fan probably they did. Is it they finally gave you what you've been asking for? You know what I mean? They finally gave what you've been asking for. You've been asking for your release. You wanted to be set free. Now you've been set free. I mean, it's going to take 90 days. But like, all right, somebody like the Dyad, which I won't even call them the Dyad, right? And they left on different terms. But grizzled young veterans, I loved them when their original stick in NXT when they came over from NXT UK. That stick they used to give on the mic every time they came out, I love that. That's a tag team I would say AEW could sorely use because of the fact that they already have it, they know what they want to do, and they can go in the ring. You know what I mean? But they weren't on this list. I mean,
I think it was their contracts expired, so they were like, we're out.
But they've been wanting out. They've been wanting out.
What, WrestleMania around that time?
So
wow.
They had, I have to be careful with how I present this. The reports early were that they were looking to get out of their contracts early. That is 100% false. That is a Dave Meltzer lie.
And you're talking about grizzled young veterans, right?
GYV?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure I'm on the same page.
I can confirm that with 100% certainty through my sources. So they were more of they had a meaningful program that helped to bring up obviously the Joe Gacy character and obviously Dwayne's daughter as well. And they were very happy to do what needed to be done and work out their contracts. So, I mean, I wasn't shocked. Like there was never a suspicion that those guys would get cut. They were going to utilize them through their contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say that with 100% certainty that I know that for a fact.
Looking at this list, let's talk Dolph Ziggler.
You're right, though, Pete. Those guys are so super talented. Man,
100%. Like I have not a bad thing to say about grizzled young veterans. I think they're good. I think they're going to go somewhere and be stars.
I think if they go to AEW or Japan, man, they could really do something special.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'd like to see them go to AEW just because, again, I don't think AEW takes all the talent and utilizes them in the best way possible. They're very, very selective, and it's always just the top guys, the people like the Daniel Bryans, the Adam Coles, you know, those kind of guys. That
I'm okay with that because they do make their undercard feel important. But like the tag division, right? They have the best tag teams, and as far as a group,
right? But
it is the same two tag teams.
Yes.
And again, for everybody who knocks WWE for everything was always like the Usos and like one other team. Everybody does it. You get a hold of the best tag teams in the world. It's like everybody with Charlotte. When you know you have the number 1 and number 2 and number 3 people, they're going to be the featured acts. And it sucks for everybody else because they need an opportunity. And like grizzled young veterans could go there and work with Lucha Bros. They could go there and work with anybody, including FTR, including the Bucks, and have phenomenal matches.
I don't know if they get a chance. Would be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal match. But I don't know if they'll get that opportunity, but they should, and those matches would be unbelievable.
No, there's no lies. I detect no lies whatsoever. So let's. We talked about Riddle a little bit, but like I said before, I think what happened to Riddle and Ziggler, but Ziggler was just. I think it's to the point you get to this point in your job, right, where you just come to work and collect the paycheck. I think that was what's happening with Ziggler at this point. It's
Yeah,
sad to see.
He's won it out.
Yeah, he's won it out for a while. He's been doing the stand-up comedic thing. He hasn't been happy, but he's been a professional about it.
Correct.
I'm so out of this list, I'm curious to see what his next move is the most, because I know how much he loves this business.
I want to see Kenny Omega and Dolph Ziggler, and I want to see the way that he would sell a buckshot lariat so bad. He might sell he might flip 3 times off a buckshot lariat before he hits the canvas.
But you know what? There is a part of me that wants to see Ziggler kind of take the indie run for a little bit before he goes to AEW
to build himself back up to be
because he's been off TV for so long. He hasn't really done anything for a while. Let him kind of take the Cody route, right? Make a name, make a splash, kind of like what Cardona's doing right now, and then have a confrontation with Omega somewhere just random as all hell.
Yeah, run through NWA, run through Impact, run through New Japan, come all the bring it back around to AEW. Just go from there.
I'm talking like true indies.
You're talking about indies, like
I'm not talking.
Him
I
showing
don't give
up.
a fuck about him going to NWA or
Right.
New Japan or anything like that. No, go wrestle in front of 50 people in a bingo hall.
It's a big problem with that, though, Andy. He's got way too many outside interests now to be wasting time every weekend in the indies.
Yes.
For him, the paycheck's got to be there. And honestly, you could say that, and you're right. He hasn't been on TV.
And don't get me wrong, but it's what I would like.
Sure, no, I get it.
Selfishly, I don't give a fuck about your money, right?
Yeah,
I know what I would like to see you do, you little bastard.
Yeah. Just speaking generally for the people out there, I mean, just so people have a realistic view of where Dolph Ziggler's life is at right now. That dude is doing. He's going big or he's going home.
Yep.
And honestly, I do think if he's one of those guys that, regardless of if he's on TV or not, he could just show up there and massive pop for AEW. And like, look at Miro, right? Miro's last program was he was a cuck for Lashley. And then he leaves and he ends up going there. And when he debuted, he was a massive figure too. He went from being a cuck to being the guy who I had forsaken my wife.
His wife was getting tongued down, bro. God,
bro. I'll tell you what about her. I was really skeptical about where the direction they're going with this. I thought it was weird, right? When we talked about that, him walking away from her. I really enjoyed her promo, almost flipping back on him about forsaking and going out and being who I was best known for a couple of years ago. Right. I really kind of like the direction they're going with this.
So I haven't watched her promo. Is it good?
It is excellent. I thought it was excellent for her.
For her,
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been behind on AEW.
That's okay. You know, it's
honestly,
better than Goofy Tony Storm going crazy and thinking she's like a 1950s.
She's like Marilyn Monroe now, kissing people. Which I get it. I understand. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but she's like a pinup.
Yeah,
but like a crazy pinup.
Just imagine AEW just flashing, or his brother Nick Nemeth getting rolled out. I think he's still there with AEW.
Yes,
somewhere.
he is. Yeah, he is. Yep.
Yeah.
And then all you see is DZ on the screen. That Raw after.
Well, he doesn't own the name. He would have to come back with his real name.
But So, but that drop of his music, I'm here to show the world, is so fucking recognizable, bro.
Yeah, but he doesn't own that WWE.
I know. I don't know how he could flip it, but he could figure out a way. I don't know what he would do.
They would figure something out.
They would figure something out. But him coming out there with the blonde hair, short, like if he did the short shorts again, he's just different, man. He eats, sleeps, and breathes his business. But like Chrome said, he's always maneuvered in a way to secure his financial stability. I noticed that when he did the interview with Chris Van Vliet, when at his home, I think it's in Arizona or some shit, like it was Vegas or something, and he talked about like, hey, I have this opportunity, he says if it makes dollars, it makes sense, but it has to be the right type of dollars for it to make sense. So he's very strategic in that. Would I love to see it? Yeah, I don't even know how. I think he's Chrome's age at this point. He may, because I don't think he's as
So
old. I don't think he's as old as me. I don't think he's as old as me.
Old as dirt.
But I'm older than him, so
He's older than me.
Oh, see,
no, he's older than both of us.
Pete
Really?
Pete don't look that old.
Yeah, he definitely ain't going out on the indies. I'll tell you that.
What is he like? 45?
He's fucking 43.
43. Okay.
I definitely thought he was like 38 years old.
I thought it was like 38, 39.
Yeah, he's 43, Andy. He ain't going out.
No.
He ain't performing
never
at
mind.
the 2300
Scrap-
arena. I can tell you that.
Scrap
right now.
everything I just said.
He ain't going nowhere.
I thought he was in his 32. I'm like, dude's got a lot of time left. We're good.
And he needs a guaranteed contract.
He's going to sign one of those 5-year deals with Tony. He's going to get used for like 3 months, maybe 6 months, and then he's going to collect a paycheck until his
And he's
contract
gonna show
runs
up
out.
at like every random battle royale on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It's true, right? AEW still doesn't do live events, right? They don't do like this regular.
No,
house show.
God forbid.
They started doing them, and then when they very briefly started doing them, and then when they kicked off Collision,
They stop.
they nixed them. Yeah.
Gotta have money for
Well,
something. It's
None
either
of their
blow or
top talent
collision.
wanted to work them. Well, that was the thi- that was
Because
the
they
thing,
have
Butters.
guaranteed money.
Well, that was the thing, Butters. None of their talent wanted to work them either. None of the top talent wanted to work those shows.
And you need at least one guy that, like,
WCW
somebody
life,
your top
again.
talent needs to close it out.
Say what you want about WWE talent, but for the most part, they get all their top talent. Like AJ still does the tours, the live shows.
Yep. All right. So, does anybody else have anything on the talent cuts or anything like that? Before we kind of move on.
I'm interested to see what. So I've been watching some of the videos that like Mansoor has been putting out there. He's creating a little bit of intrigue for me. I'm kind of because I've always believed he's a talented guy in the ring.
I think
But
they just gave him the wrong gimmick.
Well, I mean, the one gimmick was he's the Middle Eastern guy getting all the big spots over in Saudi. But he's a very charismatic guy. Like his video at home was excellent with that his wife filmed. So I'm actually I actually think he might have been on paternity leave too while all this happened because he had a baby fairly recently. But no, I will say that he's a guy that when they cut him, I was like, oh, okay. But he's managed to use social media and intrigue me to see what he's doing next.
He's taking this little 15 minutes of where his name is at and creating some
And
interest.
more power to him, right? And that's what you're supposed to do. You're
Yeah.
supposed to take the opportunity when the iron is hot, right? And that's what he's doing. Will it go anywhere? Who knows?
Like I almost feel like I could see him being a guy. He's still very young that could circle back to the WWE wagon in like 5 years. Sad to see Aaliyah go because she's so hot. I'm not even gonna lie. That's exactly why.
Who?
Aaliyah.
I think that's the case. That she got injured for two. She got injured. She's been on the shelf for so long that they just decided to say
she's Canadian, right?
I didn't see anything about an injury. She just hasn't been used since they lost that was kayfabe when she got hurt and they lost the tag titles, man. They just stopped using her.
She's Canadian, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Screw you.
I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know. She looks phenomenal now. Emma. Again.
But man, the Butter said this before we went on the air. WWE announces they're doing the show in Australia. Emma tweets it, so excited. 30 minutes later, wait, no, I don't work there anymore.
Oops. I think that was literally her thing. It was like, oops, my bad.
And then like an hour later, her fiance's gone.
Oh, yeah.
What a horrible day in that house.
Quincy Elliott is a guy who I thought had a lot of potential.
And that one surprised me for the NXT cuts.
Doesn't surprise me because apparently he's got a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, really? See,
a lot of questionable stuff.
Okay. See, I don't pay attention to some of the NXT.
And I could tell that too based on his statement, how he felt as if like this was good for him because he moved on. And it's like it was some animosity in his statement when he said, and
Well, I think he's like, I think there was some speak out stuff against him.
okay.
So
Then.
it doesn't surprise. And don't quote me specifically on that. I know there's some controversy and there's a dark cloud surrounding him that I think is why they started pulling him. Yeah, I think that's why they started
just probably
pulling
just
him
got
off
ahead
the
of
team.
it. They just probably got ahead of the curve and said, you know what, let's just do it now.
Yeah. I mean, is anybody going to miss General Aziz, Babatunde, or whatever you want to call him today?
You know
Shanky.
You know who I'm surprised?
Oh, come on. You don't want to miss a dancing Shanky? Dance, Shanky, dance.
Apollo. I'm surprised Apollo he made it because he's really not doing anything either.
Yeah, but Apollo's kind of on a downtick after this latest NXT run. I do think we'll see once whatever's done with Mello and Wes. If they are moving on from that program, I think you see Apollo come back.
Well, I think they have Mello and Ilya next week.
Yeah.
And I think
they officially moved on. I thought Wes was still like lingering in the background.
I think he's lingering in the background, but right now the match is Ilja and
Mello.
I don't even know where Apollo. Like, isn't Apollo in Smackdown or Raw?
No, now he's in NXT.
In NXT, dude.
No, I thought he got traded though.
He got drafted.
That's what I meant. Drafted.
The more you know.
But no, I actually think Mello drops it to Ilya this time.
I can see that.
Get a nice little call up.
I don't even know about a call. I mean, he could. I mean, the bitch, he really don't fucking miss. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But
he's so good. I can't wait till he comes up.
All right, he just
right. Yeah.
I would love to see him put.
He was drafted back to Raw. Sorry, he was drafted back to Raw.
I thought he got drafted. I would love to see him back. Honestly, back in with Lashley, Carmelo. I would love to see a new Hurt Business with the Street Profits. Bring in the young guy as Carmelo. The next guy, almost like a new age evolution.
The fuck, yo, we could have at the same exact time.
Got him.
Same exact time. You know,
like really do it the right way. You know what I mean?
Well,
I mean, not to say they were doing it totally wrong before, but man, and bring MVP back. I'm honestly, Amash should have been a part of these cuts.
Yes.
Damn.
He's a nice guy.
Think he should be?
I don't get it.
No, not right now.
You think Omar should stay around?
Yeah, give him a little more
For
time.
what? For no. For fucking what? What do you want to keep the big 7-foot motherfucker that can't do anything?
So you can have a big 7-foot motherfucker.
No.
So
it's a waste of time.
So he's been around for almost 3 years
if
now.
That's the case. Go get Commander Aziz and bring his ass back too.
Like, you understand, he's been around for almost 3 years now, and we're still doing enhancement matches.
Yep.
That should tell you everything. And again, I hear he's a super nice guy. I'm sure he's a sweet human being, a real sweet man, but he stinks.
You don't have Kali and Big Show anymore, so you might as well have somebody.
Why? Why do you have to have that?
You don't need
ladies and gentlemen, Vince McMahon Jr.
You don't need just a quote unquote big guy.
Your big guys don't have to be 7 feet tall, especially if you're not featuring them the right way.
I actually kind of wish we didn't have almost great person, and I wish they had the version of Big Bill now. In WWE. I wish they were.
He's so good.
I wish they were.
I could take that.
So good, Big Bill. Guy got his life together in a big way.
Did you just say sweet human being? Of all that's what Greg picks up on. Of everything we talked about. Did Greg just say sweet human being? Because you know Greg's like got us on in the background while he's doing whatever he's doing. But he heard that line and he went, the fuck?
He's a sweet man.
Yada, 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 sweet human being.
That is cut through all the chatter. All right. Where are we going now?
Well, we're going to pay some bills. We'll be right back after this message.
Ching, ching.
After this message from our sponsor, Royal Billiards. Here we go.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years, and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor, and fun. Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike in Colmar.
And we're back. I want to thank Royal Billiards for sponsoring this next section. Check out Royal Billiards and Recreation, the coolest place for all your game room and man cave needs. For the last 41 years, this family-owned business has been the premier game room store of the Delaware Valley, stocked with the very best in pool tables and accessories, shuffleboards, card tables, dart supplies, bar stools, and more. Turn any ordinary room into an extraordinary game experience. God, I wrote this, and this is tough to say. Stop by Royal Billiard, located at 515 Bethlehem Pike in Colmar, Pennsylvania, or on the web at royalbilliard.com for everything fun for your home or office.
Yo, they got hot tubs too, guys.
Oh, yeah, that too.
That's what you need. Once you hit that,
Maybe you should practice your lines before the show. So.
I'm sorry. Do you want to be responsible for all the advertisement stuff? Do you want to sit here and produce? Oh, no? Shut up!
Stop fighting, brothers.
I do agree. I agree with this with Greg. Even though James Storm is just so far removed from being relevant, I loved being
him. Have you not seen Chris Harris? Jesus.
Well, I think we're talking more of the Bobby Roode version.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Who Bobby's a producer for WWE now.
I did see that.
He knows what I mean, bro. Sometimes it's a check, and you want to take a bump here. You could work this, but it's a guaranteed check. You can still get to travel.
Listen, Bobby he did his thing in Impact, built himself as a singles talent, got a chance to have a run. He carried a title in WWE, and he kind of just doing his own thing now. He had his career lined out. He went out quietly.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, now you just got a guaranteed check.
Yep.
With less of a chance of getting cut.
So let's kind of transition to AEW Grand Slam. Don't really want to run down every aspect of it, but one of the biggest stories coming out of there is Sammy Guevara finally turning on Chris Jericho and aligning himself with the most punchable face in professional wrestling, Don Callis. Thoughts?
Coming a mile away?
Expected, but still awesome.
I didn't expect it. I
did.
I expected him to turn on Jericho.
I didn't like the Callis part of it.
I don't like Callis, so.
Oh my God, Don Callis is phenomenal.
He's phenomenal as heat, but I think
let me repeat myself. The most punchable face in professional wrestling.
I don't know. We love Paul Heyman, but Paul Heyman's face is pretty punchable too.
Yes, not as much as Don Callis. I enjoy when the mad scientist comes on my screen. When that jackass over there in AEW shows up.
The loafers Callis be having on alone.
I don't care.
He's too busy looking at that face ready to punch it instead of the loafers.
No. So I think Sammy's turn would have met more if he did it on his own. That you don't need Callis to come out at that point.
Have Callis come out later.
Or don't
the next week.
Don't have Callis come out this week at all.
No, that's what I'm saying. Later in the story.
Yeah.
Right. Like next week or whatever have you. But on Dynamite, Callis doesn't come out. That's how that story is told better. Let Sammy, because Sammy has never stood on his own.
Right.
In AEW. He's always had Jericho to fall back on. And now you have this opportunity where you separate Sammy from the one thing that has been the constant in the last 4 years or whatever it's been of AEW.
Yep.
To just turn around and align himself
with somebody else,
with somebody totally different. It diminishes the moment.
He can stand on his own.
Right. And if you're going to call him one of the pillars of AEW,
you need to see if he can do it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. 100% concur. 100% concur. Onward and upward, sir. Where are we going next?
Rey Fenix beating Jon Moxley for the AEW International Championship. So does everybody know the controversy surrounding the referee?
Yep.
The part where he looked, I went back and watched. He said to Rick Knox.
So I haven't seen the match yet. In fairness, but I know what happened. So yes, I'm aware of the controversy.
Hilarious.
To clear it up, he was not injured on the driver.
Right. It was
actually a concussion he suffered at the beginning of the match.
Yeah.
Shout out. I'm not a Moxley guy, but shout out to him for having some self-recognition enough to make that call in the ring and say,
"Yep." Because Lord knows that referee didn't do it.
Count to 3 and put the title on him. Yeah. If you don't know what's wrong and you know there's something wrong, I applaud his ability to have that much self-recognition because a lot of guys don't.
Bro, could you imagine having that concussion like that in those lights, and then the symptoms start to set in as you're trying to work those bright lights and everything? He had to feel so terrible, like just physically.
Yep.
WrestleMania 30, bro. End of the streak.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
He don't even. Undertaker don't even remember the match.
Nope.
And you know, to on the referee side, and I said it in our chat. The referee should treat every pin like a shoot. If a guy doesn't kick out, oh well, right? You're in there to do a job. You're not in there to make sure the story goes the right route or whatever have you.
Honestly, the ref should never know the ending to the match. It's up to the superstar to kick out when they're supposed to.
I don't know if I 100% agree with that statement.
You can't do that. It is a scripted sport. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't have I have a mixed feeling about this because we're assuming that it's on him. Like we don't know. Like if Tony's thing is you need to try to follow the storyline, right? Vince is the same way. Vince is the guy that gets in the ear and literally feeds the commentary to people.
Oh no, I was going to get on my soapbox about that jackass. We were just going to take it one step at a time.
Yeah, I'm not going to put it on the referee right away.
I think maybe I think at the when the dust is settled and the smoke is cleared, some of it is obviously on the referee. But to your point, I can see Tony because Tony's not a boss. He is not a leader. He is nothing more than a fan with money that was able to buy all his favorite toys and have them go out and wrestle. And that's the problem.
I can agree to that.
And so he wants to stay true to the script. This is how it's supposed to go. And he doesn't like change. Because now he's got to work a little harder. Now he's got to, what's happening with Moxley? We got to change everything because Moxley's potentially out with a concussion. However long, I don't know what their concussion protocol is. I don't know how long.
I don't think he's had a history of concussions, though, has he?
I don't. But I don't
know.
Who
knows with the amount of.
First of all, yes. Immediately to what you're going to say, but second of all, I don't know what their policy is. I've never looked into it.
I mean, have you seen what Jon Moxley's done over the years? You can't tell me this is his first concussion.
Yeah,
you
that's
can't
what
tell
I was about to
say.
There is no way this is his first concussion.
Well, not saying first, but I'll say history, like
because how else would he know, right?
A la what we have with Bryan Danielson and also Adam Cole, like where they had the concussion history. But their effects of it, how it affects them is so severe where they have to, take EEGs while doing physical activity to see what their brain, like to that point. Obviously, I don't think it's his first like legit concussion, but he may be one that recovers pretty fast from it. You know what I mean? So, and doesn't have those long lasting effects. That's what I mean.
No, and I get that. I get that. I don't know. I think Tony, to Chrome's point, Tony was absolutely saying, no, make sure, don't count the three. Don't count the three. Ray's not supposed to win it. This isn't how it's supposed to go. This isn't how we wrote it.
But I'm making that. I'm not even making that in this instance, man. That's where we're. I'm saying in general, right?
No, I know,
this
but
idea.
I'm hyper focusing on one instance.
Right, but I'm saying like the idea that you guys presented that the referee should always just count the 3 regardless. I don't know that I agree with that, because if we just start having willy-nilly 3 counts happening, mistakes happen, guys forget to kick out. Like, you're going to see a lot of sloppy wrestling stories then. You can't sacrifice, like, an injury is different, and that's where I say in this case, like, okay. But overall, like, the idea that a referee should always count to 3, you're going to start screwing up a whole lot of storylines because some guy was an idiot and forgot to get his shoulder up. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
No, all right. So I get where you're going.
Can you imagine if like Roman forgot to kick out at one point? If somebody
you mean like the last man standing match where they couldn't get the handcuffs off?
That's different. It's handcuffs. That's a whole different
That's
thing.
the point.
That's
It's
not
still the same thing. Treat it as a shoot.
No, it's not the same thing. That is not even close to the same thing.
Really not.
You're talking about they flubbed up taking handcuffs off, as opposed to we're ending a storyline because someone was an idiot and didn't kick out of a kick. Or if somebody in reaching, right? So what are we doing with tap outs then? If a guy is reaching and it looks like his arm taps out, maybe he's not tapping out. Are we just calling it tap out then?
And let the record show. Let me back up for a second, because now this is getting way offhand. Right?
Is it?
It is as far as I know.
If we're telling referees to act, that the ending should be a shoot, whether it's a pin, you have to add in submissions.
Hold on. My thing was treat every pin, right?
But we can't do one without the other.
I'm making a point here. What this idiot is talking about is vastly not what I'm talking about. Let me be very, very clear here that the opinions and the words said on this side of the screen are not reflected upon this side of the screen.
Is this like the McAfee disclaimer before the Pat McAfee show?
Is. Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah. So
just pop up with the graphic. Butters' comments and descriptions are his own thoughts.
I'm gonna have that for next week.
They do not reflect.
Don't you dare
tempt me. ATD Radio, Andy Ritter, or anybody else on the club.
Don't you dare tempt me. I'll have Frank make that thing tomorrow.
That would be amazing.
I hear you.
Have a Butters disclaimer. Let's do it.
Make it look like it's
we'll get Ralph to
raining butter.
We'll get Ralph to do the voiceover.
Can we make it? Oh, never mind. You know what? We shouldn't do that because it won't look like what I think it would look like. I was just saying, can we have it look like? I was just saying, can we have the lettering look like it's like melted butter? But
that's what I just said. That's what I just said.
That could definitely look like something else. So maybe we don't do that.
So he caught it before you did.
I know what he's thinking.
A2D gonna be around in 2 weeks.
I don't
know. There goes everything we've just accomplished. 8 years of hard work gone because of a graphic.
Gone.
But no. So in my opinion, it's every pin, right? What Dippy over here is talking about. You know, I love the crickets. I do. It fits so well here. What Dippy over here is talking about is technical.
Wait a minute, Dippy?
Yeah, Dippy, dipstick.
That's a big dipstick. I just want
to. when you're
biggest Dunkaroo I've ever
we're dealing with
that's what she
with
said.
The actual pins, right? Yes, mistakes will happen. They're bound to happen, right? And that's why I don't agree with the comment of the ref shouldn't know the ending, because in some scenarios, the ref needs to know.
Screw job.
Yes, screw job's a great point. What was it? When Cody talks about the worst match he's ever been in, the 6-man tag, right, where Ted DiBiase doesn't kick out, and the ref counts to 3.
You know what's going to be the most annoying thing in the world, though, guys?
Butters.
Every single count, you're going to hear 3 bangs on the mat every time, and it's going to get super annoying.
Mm-hmm.
There's not going to be the 1, 2. Oh, it's going to be everything's going to be a 1, 2, 3, and then you have to look at the ref to see if it's a 3 or not. It's going to get super annoying and distracting 3 times.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, for the longest time, I always felt like, because when the ref comes down, you hear that first hit, right? So there was a point where I was like, oh, wait, that's one. Okay. We're doing 1, 2, 3 off of that. Not, all right, that's him just landing and then 1, 2, 3. You know, so I don't think we're going to get that annoying with it, but I think we're going to go back to where everybody's like, wait, we're not trying to be funny here. Was that 3? Was it really 3? Did he really just count 3?
I think it's super, super annoying. It'd be very distracting.
100%.
And the focus becomes on the ref. It's like baseball, right? It shouldn't be when you're talking about the umpires, or in football, if you're talking about the line judge, something is wrong. You're making the referee
bigger than what
basically a third party in this, as opposed to a supporting role.
Now, if the storyline calls for it and you've built to that, a la what WCW used to have with Nick Patrick just being horrendous for fast counts, shit like that, or what you used to have with that's a la Judgment Day.
Charles Robinson with Ric Flair.
Robinson with Flair, with Linda McMahon brought back Earl Hebner and shit like that. Ultimately, to end Triple H's reign. I think it was Judgment Day 2000 after WrestleMania.
Yeah, when it fits the storyline,
right,
it makes sense. But what Chrome's talking about is not it fitting the storyline. It's just everyday refereeing.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm completely.
It's people looking at Aubrey Edwards like, all right, you counted 3, you're an idiot.
No, I agree. I mean, I don't. The ref should be in on it at some point, because ultimately you also have young talent who may not know, and he may need to put these bitches in spots, and they may be running over. They may need to cut a match short. So, but once again, this all started what we spent the last 10 to 11 minutes on, because Dippy Dipstick over there said some foul shit, and we gave him an audience.
The thing we have to remember, right? You're spot on. The thing we have to remember is we're making outlandish remarks, specifically one person and half of one person, right? Over an instance that rarely happens, where it rarely comes into play. We're talking about changing the entire dynamic of a scripted sport because of something that may come into play once a year.
First of all,
like an all-come, like
shit.
It's just, I mean, these things happen.
The comment of treat everything like a shoot is not something I just magically came up with one day sitting around because of this happening. I've heard it a million times before in discussions with referees.
But I'm saying that, like, it's the idea of, like, people go to work. People have 100 things that happen to them a day, and 99 of them could be great. But people tend to focus on the one thing that didn't go great and almost forget. Instead of saying, oh, I had 99 victories today, people focus on the one negative thing, and then they go home and they fester on it. It's the same thing here. Even if it's not this instance, it's the last time somebody got hurt. I'm sure you had this idea because you've seen it a couple of times in the past. But of the thousands upon thousands of wrestling matches that happen a year, the percentage where this is actually something that comes into play is like maybe 1%.
You're right, but just throwing this out there, we're live on the air talking about a program that we cover every week, so we're gonna talk about when the random dumb shit happens.
Understandable, but if we're having a discussion, I'm making the point on the other side of
dipsticks of the world.
Butter, you say dumb stuff whether the camera's on or not. We all have conversations with you outside of here. Often you say dumb stuff.
Just saying.
Camera on or not.
Listen, it's a fun debate. It's not a debate I think that everybody has either. So I think it's good we had this conversation.
Agreed.
The hill I would die on this is I would not want to see that, because I'm not going to change the dynamic of the entire professional wrestling industry because of something that comes into play 1 or 2% of the time.
Right.
this is one I wouldn't die on any hill, right? Do it. It's not that big of a deal, right? But when you look at the whole show, the show as a whole, people are really talking about two things. They're talking about Sammy turning on Jericho, and they're talking about the referee, quote unquote, screwing up.
3 things.
What's the other thing?
That phenomenal MJF commercial.
Yes.
That mocked the Bret. That was a remake of the Bret Hart with the fan.
In all fairness, when I first saw it, it didn't click to me until you just
didn't
said
register, right?
No. That it happened during the show. I thought this was something that was put out on social media because he's been doing a lot of stuff on social media lately. And I didn't watch Grand Slam. I read about.
Yeah. No, it blew up on social media after the show.
Okay. See, I did not know that. All right. So yes, they're talking about 3 things because that is Jesus
honestly,
Christ.
For me, that was the best part of the whole freaking night.
that
I died
commercial. Somebody put somebody had it side by side.
Yeah.
It's the flipping same down to almost all of it.
Go get him, champ.
I
think he puts the scarf on him instead of the glasses, right?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I was expecting him to choke him with the scarf.
I was expecting him to come back and take the scarf. And like
I'm loving
shit to the kid.
I'm loving face MJF, by the way.
It's the best.
He is definitely our scumbag.
And I knew it too. Like I knew when he got, the mega heel and everything like that. I don't know if I was on the air or what we were doing, but I said the day this guy turns face, it's going to be the funniest thing ever. And it's going to be the greatest thing ever. Because in my opinion, the best faces are the jackasses that you're being a scumbag, but we all love you for it. Because in some aspect, that's kind of why Austin worked, right? Some of the best faces were just scumbags.
But it's like with the Austin thing, and I always say this, like he maybe not the greatest of all time, but had the best run. It's just at that time in that place, everybody wanted to hit their boss with a Stone Cold Stunner, and he was the only person that was able to do so.
I still do.
You live vicariously through certain guys and characters, and that's why they click.
I still watch some promos.
Right. I will say this though. Sneakily through Grand Slam, I think you saw the first instance of Blackpool Combat Club splitting at some point.
Because of Claudio losing the title?
Not just that, the punch that you had to watch, like the punch to the stomach before the match, the way they came out, there was no Claudio didn't have anything that referenced BP, whatever the fuck they call it, BPC, whatever, BPCC, I guess, because
who cares?
Combat Club, whatever it's called, that and all that, which I think is good because I think they all could stand on their own, even Yuta to a point, and I'm tired of Moxley. I don't get the shit. The Shield is over with. Why are you still coming through the crowd?
I told you what needed to happen, and maybe it would have been the plan. I don't know, but I think the cracks were going to happen, and we discussed unless I had a separate conversation. If Moxley was still the international champion, it needed to be Yuta to be the one to take the title off of him.
Yep.
That would have been a massive rub for him.
Yep.
Agreed.
I mean, maybe he can get it back and they can get back on track with something like
that. I think that's ultimately what's going to happen, Butters. When he's good and cleared, maybe they'll give Phoenix a run for an extra month or 2 months. But eventually I think it goes back to Moxley and then they continue business as usual.
Well, and to Pete's point with splitting up the Blackpool Combat Club, right? Like in the beginning, they were cool because they were kind of running together and doing everything. But over the last probably 4 to 5 months, it's been very much Jon Moxley acting independently, Bryan Danielson acting independently, Claudio and Yuta acting like a tag team, but still independent of themselves, right? You take Regal out of the picture here, and this doesn't work.
No,
How are you the Blackpool Combat Club and the guy who's from Blackpool is not there?
Thank you.
Almost for a year now. And the other thing is, too, they lost me where originally you had – what are they all known for really outside of Moxley? But what is Claudio, Yuta, Danielson known for? Their ring work. They can beat you in the ring. They can go. Moxley not so much. So when they first started, when Regal was still there, it was just like, yo, we're badasses. We know we're tough sons of bitches, and we're better than you in that square circle. All that shit where Moxley started doing death matches with like Claudio doing all that, like, bro, Claudio doesn't need to do this shit.
Exactly, and that's why like the stadium. Don't get me wrong, the stadium stampedes and the anarchy rules. The first couple ones were cool, right? They were different, they were unique, but now it's like, all right, I just want to see like you guys do a trios match. Do Yuta, Claudio, and Bryan Danielson. 3 guys that are very, very talented in the ring. Pick any other 3 guys to put them up against. And you have a great trios team. Let them showcase the amazing ability that they have in the ring. We don't need Bryan cut up. We don't need Yuta going across the merch table. We don't need Claudio getting beat up on the 200 level. You know, it's unnecessary. We don't need skewers coming out of John Moxley's head.
Still makes me cringe.
Anybody want to say anything?
I don't want to go down this road with you again because we already did this once. I have no issue with these. They don't. It remains a featured match, right? It's what
I don't disagree with that.
So, like, I don't. I mean, could I do it out the skewers in the head? Sure.
I'm talking more like the actual Blackpool Combat Club, not the matches themselves.
Oh,
right?
okay. I thought you were saying, like, I've seen enough of these matches. I was going to say, I'm fine with them as long as it's special. But, you're right. I get it.
The actual utilization. I'm cool with the matches themselves. Put other people in the matches, right?
Yeah. Well, they've done a good job at mixing them up.
How you're utilizing the Blackpool Combat Club at this point just isn't working.
This is what Moxley wants to be now. This is his thing. You know, he went from being the slingshot between the 2 rope clothesline guy every match to I'm just going to bleed every match. That's his new off the ropes clothesline.
I'm waiting for DraftKings to have a spot when they do their $20,000 thing every pay-per-view. How long before John Moxley bleeds?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What spot on the card is he? I'll give you an answer.
Right. MJF beating Samoa Joe. I thought that was huge for MJF.
The way he did it, the finish, and he's calling a shot, and he did it cheating. Like you want to cheat, he's still doing the same shit. Like he hasn't.
Our scumbag. So now it's all okay.
Yeah, he hasn't changed. I'm still not. I don't. The only thing I don't like, I don't get it with the Burberry. He's the only person who I know is under the age of 30 that's still wearing Burberry and hyping Burberry up like that. But do you, Max? It is what it is. Just we're all waiting for that other shit. Like, and I don't know. I think O'Reilly is still under contract with AEW, but I'm not sure if he's healthy.
Yeah, I don't know what his career is going to look like. He's got a lot of health issues.
Right, I know he's a diabetic, right? I believe. And then
his last injury was supposed to be really bad.
Okay. So
I think his career is in question.
Okay, so ultimately we know where this is going. Cole turning because he can't take it. If you look at, so you didn't watch it, but you didn't watch it, and Rich didn't watch it. Butters, did you watch it?
The majority of it, yes.
Okay, so the part where MJF pulls up in a green Porsche, by the way, chef's kiss, and Cole has to walk around because the camera's panning on MJF, and Cole's in the background. Little subtleties like that in the cinematography of how it's shot. The only thing is how do we feel about, and I know you, and I like Taven too, how do we feel about that group? Roddy, Taven, Bennett, and then Adam Cole. Whatever it's going to be called. But you know Tony Khan is going to do it.
You talking about adding Adam Cole to the Kingdom?
But it's not going to be called the Kingdom.
But you're talking about the Kingdom and Adam Cole aligning themselves together. I think you're trying to recapture some kind of weird undisputed era kind of magic.
Busted Open, Dave LaGreca still uses the theme as his intro music every day.
It's a great theme.
It's fantastic. But I'm just saying, I think that's how Fanboy is going to view factions. He likes to have groups of everything. He's going to do this at some point.
I agree with you. He's going to do it. And I will continue to stand on my soapbox. And this is the mountain I will die. It's not a hill anymore. Fuck that. It's a mountain I will die on.
He's dug Mount Everest.
That this is the NFL of wrestling leagues, in the sense that there's got to be a team for everybody.
Everybody has to have a home, sir.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to have a damn faction for every damn body. Shit.
Well, it's written,
but
in front of you, bro.
Will I like it? No. Will I like it because it's again, we're putting people together to just have them in a faction? That's not why. I don't think that it's necessary.
Exactly. Why is it necessary for Jake Hager to walk out now with Angelo Cool Hands and Daddy Magic and Hannah Jake?
There's two more guys I can't stand. Absolutely can't stand them. More so Daddy Magic than anything.
What, you don't want to dance?
Shut up.
Go ahead, Cron.
I mean, I am not a Roderick Strong fan.
Never have been. To be fair,
no, that's not true. I like early Roderick Strong, Ring of Honor.
He was turning and joining Undisputed Era, but then
with Undisputed Era.
After that, it was all downhill.
I thought the Diamond Mine was a little odd at first.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you got to kind of see how good some of those guys worked, and what's her name too? Ivy Nile. I was like, you know what? This is cool. And I thought it was a good spot for Roddy. Until it got weird. And it's almost the same storyline they're doing with Adam Cole. It's now in AEW, it's Roddy's paranoid. But they're almost doing like the Roddy's paranoid, but now he's turning into Joel Gertner with the neck brace thing. Like, it's just weird to me. I don't get it. I think it's cheesy. Like, it's super, super cheesy.
There is a name.
Like, WWE's already doing it better. WWE's already doing it better with Elton Prince.
Yes.
Where he's in a wheelchair, but he hurt.
When
but he
Adam
hurt his shoulder.
asked you, he goes, "You hurt your shoulder. Why are you in a wheelchair?" When Pierce said that, I lost it.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, boy.
And it yes, boy. Yo, listen. They're already doing it better whenever they're trying to do a Roger Strong, basically.
Yes. Well, and I think
I don't like it. He looks like an idiot.
I think the further you're not just doing the paranoid stuff, right? You're doing almost this weird, like, obsessive kind of storyline where Adam has to be Roddy's friend and no one else's friend.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And he's a bad guy. He's not going to treat you like they're treating Roddy like he's an ex-boyfriend or some shit.
Well, it's
like
fair.
he's beholden to him or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you didn't watch like early Ring of Honor, Andy.
No.
And Butters. I'm pretty sure Pete watched some of it. When I see what Roderick Strong's career was in Ring of Honor.
Yes.
And in NXT with the Undisputed Era. To me. This is such a level down.
Yes.
It's goofy. And like, there are certain characters that goofy works. Mm-hmm. To me, this doesn't work. It's especially the way they brought him in wasn't even anything close. Like it's the Tony Storm factor thing now, mm-hmm. right? This is she's comes out and she's, like toxic, whatever, not toxic attraction, whatever they are, whatever their friggin' name is.
Outcast.
But she comes out and she's dressed like the girls are, kind of like when Liv started dressing like Ruby.
Sexy lingerie.
Right? Mm-hmm. And it became a thing, and Sarah Logan was kind of the offbeat one. It's kind of the same thing here. It's just like now we have Tony Storm is like some weird psycho
pinup.
She's like she's, if anybody see the Barbie movie,
No.
she's weird Barbie. Kate McKinnon's character. She's turning into weird Barbie. It's weird. I don't get it.
Are we just letting that one go?
That's actually an extremely popular movie. Many men have seen it,
everybody I've heard, my wife saw it. I know Chucks has seen it. Chrome has seen it. PY has seen it. Everybody loves it.
What a fucking list!
It's a phenomenal movie.
I don't know how much credibility outside of my
I love
wife.
how he starts that list with. So my wife saw it. Chuck saw it. PY saw it. And Chrome. Ooh, man, when you talk about the guys on that list, wow, what a fucking roster of dudes.
I mean,
did you guys all go
superstar,
together?
There's one superstar standout, buddy. Don't forget that.
Yeah, my wife. I mean, because she's like, I would ride with you any other time, Chrome. When you said that statement.
Well, then 2 superstars. You're right. You're right. There's room at the top for 2. There's a men's and women's division here.
I gotta preserve my life.
We got the men's and women's divisions here. We're good. But she is. She's like weird Barbie, and I think it's such a step down for her too. I don't like it.
Well, I thought her entire AEW run has been a step down. Number one.
Andy, we've been talking about this show topic. It's been getting pushed and pushed. Now this is the second week in a row.
I know. I don't even think we can do it next week because we probably have something to preview next week.
What show topic is that?
So last week we were going to do fantasy booking of AEW stars that have come over from WWE had they have stayed in WWE.
Oh, that's fun.
And then 2 hours before the show goes on the air, Dwayne decides to walk out in Colorado.
Yeah.
This week we're going to do it. And then Vince says, you know what? You guys don't work here anymore.
Well, that's not Vince. That's Endeavor.
It was just the first name that came to mind. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
That's TKO, sir.
Shut up. You weren't helping.
He's still the executive chairman for a moment until he sells his $3 billion in shares. How do you already sell it for $9 million and then you have 28 million shares that now you have to sell and make another $3 billion? Jesus Lord. All over. How much did he buy it for? 100 million or 1 million from his dad back in '84?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
What a brilliant man.
Bro,
a creep. But a brilliant man.
He jack shit with that money after he croaks in a couple years.
But
he just said today he's living to 120.
Listen.
Yeah. Okay.
Vince don't give a shit. Vince is like Scrooge McDucking it over there, up in there in Connecticut, man.
And
he's got the fucking money vault. He's diving in head first. He's got the money vault. He's swimming.
We have come full circle.
We've had our sports reference.
Now we've had our Disney reference.
And Barbie.
A DuckTales. A woo. But to Tony Storm, right? What's so horrendous about this is there's no reason for it. There's no like, oh, she has a concussion or anything like that. She got into it with Paige at the last pay-per-view because we did the dumbass, I'm gonna hold her, but she's gonna move and I'm gonna hit you shtick with Paige's mom. And now it's just she's back in the 1920s for no reason.
This isn't her first title, right? This isn't like her first run. Like, if they're doing like she's kind of going crazy and distraught because she lost her title. She lost the title before and didn't give a shit.
She hasn't done an interview
at all.
It's just the whole change.
Yes, she did. She did one with Renee.
Yeah, she did.
I don't remember it. I don't remember that.
Didn't you see the whole thing about?
She fondled Renee in the interview.
She said tits up and something. Yeah, chin up, tits up. I think was her saying in it.
Something like that. She straight like it wasn't even subtle. Renee was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. I'm pretty sure on Pro Wrestling Tees there's already a T-shirt with the saying on it. Yeah, she has definitely done it.
Oh my God, I don't. It happened. Everything right now I feel in AEW. Outside of Cole MJF has no slow build. It's rushing to the finish line.
Sucks. Like I'm not buying the pay-per-view on the first. Wrestle Dream or whatever it is.
They said 7,500 tickets sold.
Okay.
Lowest. That's the lowest. It's going to be the lowest attended pay-per-view event.
It's chin up, tits out.
Oh, that's right. Chin up, tits out. Okay. Thank you, sir.
But it's
dynamite Google job over there, Butters.
It's literally
dream matches.
Not even just that. It's the third pay-per-view they're gonna run within what, like 5 weeks?
Yeah, I'm good. And they're $50 a pop.
$50 a pop.
I spent $100 for those damn pay-per-views and was not
I'll tell you what,
super satisfied.
And you were, you know what? Well, I see. God bless you for spending the full 100 on them. At least with those, I think those two you got your money's worth. I think they're pressing their luck now, running the third one. Like I really think they're pushing.
I don't know if I got my money's worth. I think I enjoyed it more because I got to watch it. Like we jumped in a StreamYard and we just kind of hung out and watched it. We didn't stream anything. We didn't record any reactions. You know, Pete was with me for All In. Frank was with me for All Out, or vice versa, whatever the hell. Pete was with me in London. Frank was with me in Chicago.
Man, you guys are really getting around.
Yeah. What we were just trying to be you, dude.
See what it's like
for
a while.
He's gonna take this now, bro. This is. I know him by now.
I can barely be me at this point. Listen,
it's like, what state are you in today, Chrome?
I'm in New Jersey until the end of the month. Listen, we did not talk about this, by the way. And I meant to bring this up when you brought up the cuts, right? We're talking about names of people. Jade Cargill, now at the Performance Center, likely making a WWE or NXT debut at some point in the near future. That's one of those names you bring in. And are we really worried about Dabakato or Babatunde or Shanky or General Aziz or...
You understand 3 of those names are all the same people, right?
Exactly. That's my point. Exactly. You're making my point for me.
I'm like, wait a minute. Does he realize what he's saying over there?
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure there's another name he had somewhere in the middle there somewhere too. Think about that. Like there's other talent on the rise. And that was a point I wanted to make earlier that I didn't get to bring up because we got sidetracked. People want them to keep adding talent, right? It's so much fun to watch them bring somebody in and have that moment of a debut. But you have to realize when I'm paying one person, somebody else is eventually not going to get paid.
Right.
And that is the nature of the business. But I did want to ask you guys, since I'm on with you. Jade A, are you excited for this? B, do you think this is a good or bad move for her? C, NXT or right to the main roster? And D, what is the one feud you want to see out of her?
Any more letters of the alphabet you'd like to optimize here?
And F for fuck yourself.
Yes! God, I love it. All right. So, A, am I excited? Yeah, actually, I am. Because, and I think that covers one of your other... Is it a good move for her? Yes. I think that was B, if I remember correctly.
Yes. And I'm off the screen. I'm listening. I have to do something for my dog. I'm listening though.
That's fine. B, is it a good move for her? Yeah, because she rolled through everybody else in the AEW roster within the course of a year. And they made her unstoppable, unbeatable. It's essentially what they did with Goldberg.
You are going to love my take on this, by the way, too, when I circle back after you guys are done. On the timing of her exit. Go ahead.
As far as NXT or the main roster, I would like to see her go to NXT because I think you take Becky out of the equation at some point, right? They're going to need that star power because you're still building up Tiffany Stratton, who's great, who's phenomenal, but I think you're going to need another person down there because Becky's not going to stay down there full time.
Mm-hmm.
She's already proven that 'cause she's doing Raw and NXT.
Tiffany Stratton has come so far.
Yes.
100%.
So far.
Who's the first feud I'd like her to see in?
He didn't say first feud. He said overall.
Overall.
What is like the one feud you want to see her have?
See, I don't know if it's necessarily a feud per se. I want to see her work with Bianca. I think those two would be great together. I don't know what a feud would look like between them. But as far as feud goes, man. Charlotte, Bayley, Zoe Stark, Shayna. It's probably where I'm at with that right now. With Jade, just thinking of Jade's ring work and what kind of character they had her in as AEW. That's kind of where I see her fitting. Butters, Pete, one of you two go next.
Go ahead, Butters.
Am I excited? I'm 50-50. I could honestly care less about her in AEW. Is it a good move for her? Fuck yeah. Probably more money for her. Main roster NXT, I'm almost certain she's going to be straight up main roster. No way she touches NXT till later on in her career.
You say her career like she's a 20-year veteran of the game.
Depending on how long she lasts, I mean, it's,
Okay.
later on in her career is what I'm getting at.
Carry on.
Who I'd like to see her or feud with wise? I mean, Charlotte. Have her go after the Queen firsthand.
Okay.
Yes and yes to both. Excited. It's a perfect fit. They don't have anyone who looks like her at all.
Correct.
Her physique, her height, she's decent on the mic. She feels like she's the baddest as it is. I mean, main roster from the rip, Charlotte, because she to me is just the opposite of Charlotte. Obviously with the ring work, but just as far as personality. And I think visually, them two standing at opposite sides of the ring, and obviously we know Charlotte's light years ahead of her in the ring as far as her work, but Charlotte could bring her up to that level. Would do wonders. To me right now, if you told me you pencil in Jade versus Charlotte at WrestleMania 40, I'm sold. I'm sold because I don't know what Butters is watching. I don't know why. I mean, that's a whole deeper conversation where we could go into why he didn't give a shit about.
Does anybody really ever want to deep dive into Butters' mind?
No.
They're the number one AEW women's talent, and he's like, yeah, doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, like he's like, I like Sky Blue better than her. Like, what the fuck? Huh? What? Like,
Were you an Adam Rose guy? Were you a No Way Jose guy?
I was a No Way Jose guy.
No, I really wasn't a No Way Jose guy.
I was. I won't lie about that. I love No Way Jose.
I will say Adam Rose, yes, but No Way Jose, not really.
His theme song.
Were you a Tyler Rex guy? I mean, girl, I'm sorry.
I totally forgot about that guy. That's how much I remember about him. Or sorry, her.
Moving on.
No, but man, that visual of them two is just going to be crazy, man.
Yeah, I think this is huge. Big get for WWE.
Yes.
I'm not surprised by it because pretty sure Cody's the one that discovered her.
Really?
I think so.
I believe that Cody was really big on bringing her into AEW. I know he was a big mentor to her, which is why they opened up with her working with Cody and Brandy.
Okay.
So that's not a shocker to me, which also wouldn't shock me again if MJF and the biggest free agent in 2024 ends up moving.
Does anybody know when that date is?
January 1st.
January 1st.
He says it all the
1st?
time.
Okay.
Contract's up January 1st.
Being funny or if that's legit the date.
No, January 1st. I think his contract
up. And I'm telling you, dude, it would be If
Him
they
at,
got
him, at,
MJF,
him at Rumble. Oh my god.
him
That
at
would be the
Rumble,
get of all gets.
him at Philly,
That would be the get of all gets.
Philly would just
the Raw
boo the
after
shit out of him.
WrestleMania.
But yeah, as far as Jade goes, I'm with Butters in that I don't think NXT. The only way I could see her in NXT is if she's the one that knocks Becky off the title right now.
And I figured everybody would go main roster, so I just picked something different.
No, and it's fair. It's fair. I could see her being there. I don't see, because of her different look, Pete, and because she is well established at this point, it would be really hard for me to see her and take anybody in on NXT's roster. Anybody.
Right.
Serious to go against her. And I don't think she needs that. I think she's an instant recognizable figure. And even if you don't know who she is, if she shows up there, even the casuals would be like, that's somebody that's special. I don't know who that is, but I want to know more about her. So I would go main roster unless she's the one to knock Becky off of the NXT title. And you just immediately put the title on her. Then I'm cool with that. Have her do like a 6-month run and then go up. And what I would honestly do is I would have her carry that title, go to the main roster as that champion, knock one of the champions off, and then forfeit the title. I wouldn't even have her lose that title.
Kind of like what Paige did.
Yes.
I would start her off with a streak similar to what AEW did.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't know if that's a smart play.
Well,
because believability, her physique. I don't think you realize like how much bigger she is.
No.
Than everybody else.
See, I'm not on the.
First of all, I'm not lost on it. So don't. Well,
Okay.
let's not even.
You're
go
not Butters.
there,
You're not Butters.
right?
Okay.
Exactly. Like I'm not lost on the fact of who and what she is. Right. I think if you take what you've already done in AEW and you try to copy it again, I don't think it has that same believability, that same impact. I think she needs to come over here to WWE and do something different.
How many people you actually think in the WWE universe knows about her? Honestly,
I think enough.
You think enough to the point where they would recognize that they're booking her the same way she was booked in AEW?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because even the people that don't watch the people that do. They watch the Twitch streamers. They watch us. They watch, all the different people that know who that is.
Right.
And then we'll find out what she did in AEW.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to doing another streak. I wouldn't knock her off for a long time. I'm on the Bianca train to start because I do think when you look at them having that muscular physique and being her being the baddest, the EST, but she's the baddie, she's got the baddies and the baddest bitch and this and that. I want to see that. And that to me sells tickets at WrestleMania too. Like that's a women's match.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to go
Is
right
Bianca
to
hurt right now? Or is she just taking a step back?
I think she's just taking a little time. I mean, she's been go
for like the last 24 months.
Yeah, I mean, refresh her a little bit. But
R&R.
That's where I would go with her 100%. And I'll tell you what, Andy. Talking about the booking, it is a massive miss for AEW to never put that women's title on her.
Yes.
And
100%.
She never had to lose the TBS title. They could have did exactly what you said. When you talked about how it was reminiscent to his Goldberg's run, it's almost like what they did there is if they took Goldberg's run to the US title and then they were just like, yeah, we're done. Okay, have fun wherever you go next. Like, just let them go.
Yeah.
Like, what a huge missed opportunity to not have that woman represent your
hour over there.
It's not good. It wasn't good.
Because
and I think
because what happened with Jade, where she dropped the title and she left. It's gonna be the same thing that happens with MJF.
Well, you might be right, and with her, I think that could be something that factored in as well, of why she made the decision that she made. contract coming up. We didn't get to the point that we thought we would get to. I got my man Cody over there. She's very smart. She's a smart businesswoman.
100%.
She knows that she looks what Pete said. She knows that there's nobody there. There's nobody anywhere that looks like her right now in the industry. That you go to the biggest player and listen, AEW is a top company. There's no doubt about it. It is a competitor for WWE, but WWE is WWE. She's got a chance to go over there and be a top dog. It's 100% the right way to go.
Not even just her look transcends the ring, bro. Like
It's unbelievable.
They can turn her into a super.
She's marketable.
What do they love? How many times have we seen WWE, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, John Cena, all these guys, all these women who have been on Muscle and Fitness magazine?
Yep.
Like the marketability for her. Like she could be in like ESPN, The Body Issue. Like they could plaster her everywhere and make her a massive star. I think she should knock Charlotte off at some point. Like I think Charlotte needs to do the honors for her. I don't know that she will. She should,
right.
But I mean, what a specimen! What a huge get for WWE.
And there are a couple other people that have been rumored to be training at the Performance Center this week when Jade's been there. Some people that we actually have had the opportunity to meet and get to interview.
Oh, you talking about the tryouts?
Yeah, with Maddie Rankowski and Jasmine Allure.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for Maddie, honestly.
Yeah, Maddie's very, very good. They're both from Mission Pro. That's how we got to know them. When we did our shows there, we got to interview both of them actually twice. Mm-hmm. I think definitely Jasmine twice, but Maddie I know we did once because she was with her tag team part. Yeah, so very excited for them. Hopefully everybody ends up on TV.
Oh yeah.
We'll see. I mean, they definitely can. They need it.
Last little random tidbit I want to throw in here. Since
we've got about 5-6 minutes left.
Yeah, it's like a little hot tag session here, right?
Yeah.
Random topics. We touched on it earlier. Why am I intrigued by the Jimmy Uso the way that segment played out today?
Oh, fuck. Why?
I am very interested to see who is going to be. There has to be, unless AJ somehow miraculously makes a recovery next week, there has to be a mystery partner here.
So I just saw something while we were on air. Did you see it?
What if? No.
I haven't.
What if WrestleMania 40 seeds start to plant now and Dwayne ends up teaming with John?
So pause.
I don't think it's going to be him. I'm just fantasy booking, Pete. Give me a moment.
Spent 45. Here's why he shot you down so quickly. We spent 45 minutes last week talking about how it's the worst thing you could do, having them get Dwayne involved with the bloodline now. I'm not going to lie to you. Sitting there watching that awkward ending tonight, one theme music just kept rolling in my head. I hear voices in my head.
I don't know how healthy he is.
I don't either, but I know he's been spotted in Orlando.
He's been training for a comeback.
So I don't know what it is, but having him and Cena team together, how apropos that would be.
Oh, it'd be great. I mean, right? I would pop.
And I don't know. That's the only reason why in my head I'm like, who would you put with Cena? Who would make sense in this moment? Who has issues with the bloodline that aren't really resolved?
I mean, Edge would have made sense as well as an ultimate John Cena guy who's had his issues with the bloodline.
Yep. I don't think it's Dwayne at this point, though. It's way too early.
So what I saw was all very good, right? This is what I saw. It was supposed to be tonight, but he tested positive for COVID.
When we ran the Royal Billiards commercial, he and I were talking about that had dropped.
Yeah, he was supposed to make the save tonight for Cena.
So that makes sense because
he named somebody last week. Remember that?
Somebody. What even Sean Ross Sapp I think, put a tweet out earlier that said I expect it to be a big night in LA, like ... or I expect to be a big night in ... LA. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's probably what it'll be.
Because Fastlane is what, 2 weeks away?
Fastlane is the 7th because that's when I leave for Disney.
But man, can you imagine if maybe they change the story a little bit?
No, Chrome, just no.
No.
Yes.
That's something this idiot would say.
Yes.
Bad Chrome. I'm the only one that can say stupid shit.
No, do it. Do it.
No.
Well, I'm gimmick infringing on. I'm infringing on your gimmick right now.
Oh, yeah. This is why we don't have nice things.
But no, I can see more. I like the Orton, but I can see Orton making the save for Seth at some point because those two have history too. And to me, Orton always has been a Raw guy. Like I don't know why. I just always. I mean, we obviously can cross brand between shows, but it's like Monday nights. Yeah. But
no, I get where Pete's go. That's always been Orton's home. He's as far as I can remember, he never really jumped to SmackDown.
Right.
You know, when they were been brand split. But I think this would fit. It's the right thing to do. Not the right thing to do. It's the best thing that you can do. I think in this, but LA Knight's a good one too. But if LA's not healthy, what do you do?
With most protocols, he should be good to go by Friday as long as it's a light case.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear you, but again, if he's not, then what do you do?
Call
an audible back with AJ, maybe.
Yeah. Either way.
Hats off to WWE for signing a new deal with USA Network, $1.4 billion to bring SmackDown.
Like they needed it.
But once again, here's the thing: me and Chrome. But listen, I'm gonna say this too: Butters, Ritz, go A2D. Some point, Tom may not like it, bitch. If we can get this bitch to be a publicly traded company, boys and girls, we don't have to work anymore. Put it like that. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. That's just the God's honest truth.
And did I read though that Raw's gonna go to prime time on NBC?
Possibly.
I don't know. From now, I don't think they.
They don't know where Raw or NXT is going, but they know
if you just spent $1.4 billion on one show, you don't want to monopolize yourself and have all. Like they just paid for the rights for SmackDown.
Well, they wanted the highest rated show,
right? And Nick Khan and TKO Holdings, they're smart enough to know, like, okay, if this is the case, there's going to be another network out there that's going to want the same amount for Raw because Raw is a longer running show. Understandably, it's not the highest rated show, but there's so much history with Raw. You know what I mean?
That's why I thought it was in the one report I read that they were keeping Raw. Raw was leaving the USA Network. It was going to go to prime time on NBC on Monday night, and USA would take SmackDown on Fridays.
That's still fine if it happened. I could have sworn I saw. Well, all right. What I saw was Raw, NXT leaving USA. I didn't see where they were going. I know they're supposed to do 4 prime time specials for NBC, exclusive to NBC.
That Saturday night's main event.
Saturday night's main event or something along those lines. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know where Raw would go, but I mean, they have.
I've seen Prime put out there.
I was gonna say I could see Prime.
I've seen Disney Plus put out there.
Let's do it.
Jesus Christ!
I've seen
his nipples is
Netflix.
No, it means no. Hold on, stop. It means I can. So I only have Xfinity on the iPad, and the iPad's Wi-Fi only. Right. So if it goes anywhere else, it's on my phone now. Prime, Disney Plus doesn't matter.
Okay.
Peacock. I heard Peacock being thrown around since they've got to do.
I'm okay with that too. But
it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
But we'll put a pin in this. We'll pick it back up as more comes out. We are running out of time here. We want to thank our sponsors, Royal Billiards, best place to find all your home and office gaming supplies. They're located at 515 Bethlehem Pike in Colmar, Pennsylvania. We want to thank Dr. Paul Vidal and his team, Specialized Physical Therapy. 2 locations, Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. He's our doc. Make him yours, Dr. Paul Vidal. And then we also want to thank Allensy Travel. Allensy Travel specializes in creating the vacation of your dreams at Disney, Universal, or wherever your heart calls you. Let their talented team of travel experts create a custom vacation for you without any of the stress. Allensy on over to allensy-travel.com/take the trip. For Chrome, for Pete, for Butters, I'm Ritz. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace, love, and joy. We're out.